What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CANES Insight Daily Podcast. We got an instant reaction here. Justin Edwards has committed to the University of Miami. I am here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Had to go live here, man. So excited to talk about this one. Player with a lot of intriguing traits joins Miami's linebacker room. Miami has some really nice commitments already on defensive side of the ball, particularly a linebacker with Jordan Campbell, another fast, athletic linebacker. But with Edwards, I mean, you're talking about legitimate, big-time traits. Let's pull up before we even get to his all the stuff we're looking at with the video. Let's take a look at his just unbelievable testing numbers, because I think this is a big one. So Justin Edwards from Orlando Edgewater. These are official testing numbers for Miami's newest linebacker commitment. 6'1", 194 pounds. I heard he's up already over 200. This was a few months ago. This was back in February. So this was about more than 3 months ago. So he's up to over 200. 6'1", 4.26 shuttle, laser 4.57, 40-yard dash, 33-inch vert. Talking to people who handled this testing stuff for the Canes, they're saying that this is like top 2% type numbers at linebacker athletically. So we're talking about a big-time linebacker here with Justin Edwards. We got Gmo, my man. Let's go, fired up. 6'1", 205. That's a CB. Definitely runs like a CB. Faster than a lot of guys that we're after here. There it is. Huge commit. Canes Cats want some baseball commits. We'll get some of those soon. Some love right there for the new commit here. John Klein. Comments going crazy, man. Saturday at 5, doesn't matter. People are going off. So appreciate everybody's support here in the chat. So let's talk about this one with Justin Edwards. He is, like I said, 6'1", let's say a little over 200 pounds, from Edgewater in Orlando. Big program. He is a former Rutgers commit. So Schiano tried to get him. This is Mario's buddy, man. This guy Coach Schiano was at spring practice. So he's got to be pretty upset with his guy right now taking his recruits. But he got him committed last week. Edwards then goes and falls through his Miami visit. Miami's able to flip him back. And, they are very, very excited to get him. Heatherman really wants guys with physical traits. The size might be less than what you want. I think as far as ideally you're bringing in somebody just with more pure size coming in. But other than that, the measurables are really exactly what you're looking for at this position with that size and speed. Again, just pulling up some of my notes, just talking to sources. So excuse me while I pull up some of the notes here. With the staff and Edwards, one thing that gets pointed out to me, first of all, wingspan 80 inches, so he's got long arms as well. The versatility and the 3-down value is really what was emphasized to me talking to people and exchanging texts. This is a guy they think they can play first down, second down, and then cover smaller players on third down. Did a really nice job of that at the camp where he ran that very fast time and showed it on tape as well. So let's pull up while we're talking about this guy. Let's pull up some of his highlights. I really want to focus on his spring film, because to me his spring film is very, very interesting. Actually, let's watch his junior film. So we'll watch the progression here. So starting with these are his junior highlights. I think this guy's going to blow up as a senior. But here's what we had as a junior. They liked his tape. See him on the outside, quick inside move. I mean, he is a very, very fast guy. You can see the length. I'm told they saw him in person on his visit. They'd seen him in person a bunch of times. He visited in the spring, and they saw him play in person. But then, being around on the visit, they really like where he's at physically. They think he's going to be able to gain whatever weight he needs to get. Big-time program at Edgewater, like we mentioned. Here's a familiar face. See who can recognize that quarterback. It's Darion Coleman, Miami's quarterback commit. He was looking at the guy that Edwards was covering, but Edwards had him locked up, and Darion Coleman was not able to make that throw. So you see the coverage ability there. Here you see his ability to blitz. I mean, he's doing a lot of different things. When you're covering guys and taking reads away from Coleman down the field because you're so fast and quick, and you're able to get after like this, this is a very, very impressive athlete. Kevin Dennis always appreciates your contributions. He says that closing speed is real. I mean, you can see it right here on the tape. Backing up says difficult to find linebackers you can keep on the field for all 3 downs. That's absolutely right. And what I like about this is he could rush the passer, which is something that Heatherman loves, is guys that can rush the passer, but then also he can cover. So you don't know exactly what he's doing on third down. Sometimes you have third down linebackers that really are there to rush only, and they're basically a defensive end. This is a guy who can rush, can blitz, can do those things in Heatherman's defense, which he loves, guys that can rush the passer, but then he can also cover as well. Nick Canino saying he's covering Vernell Brown in that part of the video, another Orlando guy. By the way, Miami doing some work in Orlando, man. And 3 offensive linemen from the Orlando area last year. Here we see him covering again. Look at that, man. He almost took it to the house. 3 offensive linemen last year. You know, they're really after guys this year. Defensive backs, they'd love to add a Devin Jackson, for example. They're working hard in the Orlando area, and this is just the latest Orlando area player that they got their eyes on. Of course, Darian Coleman, who you saw earlier in this video, the quarterback committed to Miami from Orlando. Boom. I like, look, he can strike as well. You know, he's not somebody who is just out there. I mean, he can wrestle you down, but there's strength, but there's also some striking ability when he squares you up. So I think people might not know about this commit as much when they're watching the highlights. Look at the stopping power there, stops the guy dead in his tracks. You like to see guys when they strike and the momentum. That's the quick twitch. There it is, man. Another quarterback strip sack. He's able to beat guys inside and get to the quarterback. He has some lateral quickness too. Look at that closing speed. The film is good on this guy, man. I was told they loved what they saw, not just from these highlights, because linebacker highlights can be deceptive, but also his game film. Backing up says Orlando, the water. Yeah, these guys got the water on the front of the jersey for Edgewater. It's a pretty cool jersey. Here you go. See Darian Coleman again. This team went to States, and you see him making plays in the backfield. So he's making all kinds of plays against that Orlando team. Look at the coverage again. And then the closing speed, and then the finish with the tackle. I mean, he showed a lot on that play right there. He showed ability to play that zone coverage and passing game, and ability to close the distance when he has to go forward and be decisive, and then finish the play with a tackle. So here again, you don't see a lot of linebackers with passing coverage clips, because usually you want to hide that part. Not always, but a lot of times. And he's showcasing that ability here on these highlights. Also did it at the camp circuit. Smart play, gets his hands up there to deflect. There's another sack, man. This guy gets after it, man. That's a long, nice highlight reel. So again, talking to sources, what I heard with Edwards was, they like what he's going to do in terms of a senior. They think his senior highlights are going, or his senior film, I should say, forget the highlights. His senior film is going to be exceptional. Kevin Dennis saying Edgewater used to be the real deal. Early 2000s, then them and Dr. Phillips fell off somewhat. Yeah, I remember Dr. Phillips, home of Ryan Moore, one of the original Orlando, Miami guys. So let's take a look. This is a quicker film here, but let's see the spring game for J.J. Edwards so you can see the progress that he's making. Because he is coming along quite well and developing. Here he is in spring. Let's watch the spring highlights. Here we go. Covers, diagnose, finishes the play. Here we go. Run, gets off the block, makes the tackle, minimal gain. These are all the same game, by the way. Here you see him. Closing speed, sideline to sideline, gets it done. Now here we go. Blitzing, you get to respect that he can go out there and cover, but then when he blitzes, look how quickly he covers that distance, man. Tears that quarterback apart. But now let's see, can he actually cover? Takes that guy totally out of the play to the sideline, and then he's ready to bust some heads as he goes inside. So very, very impressive. And again, that camp where he not only put up those great testing numbers, which I'm told Coach Heatherman, he really, really likes those testing numbers. And pays close attention to him. When you're top 2% in the linebacker database, chances are you're going to be a pretty popular guy with Coach Heatherman. But it was his performance and coverage at that camp too that caught people's attention, because they had him out there covering. So like what I'm seeing from J.J. Edwards, I think the key for him, he's got to be at that 210, 215 range. If he gets to that range, I think he's fine with the speed he has. He does not look light on the highlights. You know, he looks like he can land some. He can gain some weight. He's got stopping power. I think, you know, to say he gets up to 215, I don't think there's anything unrealistic or like a crazy timeline. I think that's actually probably where he ends up. Could he get to 220? They liked what they saw in the frame in person. So, you know, a lot of times I heard Deshaun Troutman, another Orlando area guy. We got an early commit from him. Then he showed up on campus, and I think we offered him like early before really getting everybody's eyes on him. And then when he showed up, people were like, man, this guy's smaller than we thought, but he was already committed. With Edwards, they've seen him in person. They've seen him perform in pads during spring evaluation period. They saw him on a spring visit. They saw him when he came down on his official visit. And everybody feels very comfortable with his frame. So I would expect him to get maybe in that Jermaine Grace range. Remember Jermaine Grace, who was another speedy but very productive linebacker, played in the NFL for a few years. He was no bigger than this guy at all. So 6'1", you got the height, you got the long arms. I think that's just going to be the key, though, is to make sure that the size comes on. Jordan Campbell, I've heard people talk, the Miami's other linebacker commit who is committed to or who is playing at Northwestern. I've heard people talk about him as potentially an edge player. I think he can play linebacker. I saw him play linebacker at the Under Armour game where he was an underclassman playing with upperclassmen, looked really good sideline to sideline. So now you pair him, guy who can run, a guy with some length, bigger than J.J. Edwards. He's already probably in that 215 range right now as a high school senior. I think you got two really fast linebackers that can play all three downs. Remember, Edwards still got a whole senior year to gain weight. If he shows up at Miami 210, which is 15 pounds as a senior in high school, certainly he's going to gain some weight before he even plays a snap. If he's an early enrollee, I think we'll be in good shape there. Homer Wilson saying, where are the 5 stars? We're working on it, man. Derek Cooper, I think if you're talking about 5, I mean, first of all, by the way, you got the number 1 player in the whole class committed. So I think that's a pretty good 5-star. They don't get higher than number 1. So he's already in the class. Derek Cooper, somebody I think you could see added to the class, would be another 5-star player. My guy, Brad, appreciate you. Look at that. Welcome to today's edition of D-Money's versus City Pronunciation. A battle unlike any other. Appreciate everything you do. Keep up the great work. Yeah, man, appreciate you. Raleigh's been the one that's been killing me lately, but I think I got it nicked. Orlando, I got that one. J.J. Edwards make it easy for me with that one. But yeah, Raleigh took me for a ride. Louisville, which I think, Brad, did you spend any time out there? I know you're in Illinois doing your thing. But again, appreciate you, man, and all your support. Gmo says, more commits coming. D-Money's the go. No, man, you're the go. Looking forward to doing some more work together, man. And yeah, we'll be going live every single commit. Kevin Dennis says, Jordan Campbell's on campus, according to reports. Love it. Recruiting. Like I said, I saw Jordan Campbell in person twice, really. I saw him at the camp 2 years ago at Under Armour. So going into his junior year, looked the part, but was kind of like long and rangy. Saw him this year on his official visit, and he's bulked up quite a bit. So I think Jordan Campbell, someone's going to get ready to play. Brandon's saying, when do we get Lopez? Tomorrow, man? I hope, man. That's going to be a very celebratory instant reaction. You get that one done, because I am a huge, huge fan of Jason Lopez, the wide receiver. Got over 1,000. I'm going to like and subscribe to the show. Appreciate you. We're doing the instant react on J.J. Edwards. So here's Brad. He says, it's Illinois. It's Lewis or Louisville. First name for both. Rarely hear Lua. Yeah, it's no wrong answers. Exactly. Honey Badger says, Brad tried to play you, D-Money. That's my guy. That's my guy, Brad Weber, and we're all good. Brandon's saying Pete's still struggling with Wi-Fi. I think Pete might be struggling with the time change. What's the current time in his neck of the woods here in Madrid, Spain? 11:15. He's sleeping, man. So let Pete rest. We'll be on tomorrow morning. I'll certainly be on. I think. We'll see. I don't know. My wife's looking at me. Thumbs up or thumbs down tomorrow morning? For what? It's the record. Oh, we'll see. Drop my son off at camp. He's excited. He's reading it. So we got him ready for camp. He's got the Athlon sports. He's got the Lindy sports. He's got the Phil Steele. So he's ready to go for camp. He's not going to have electricity for 3 weeks, but he's got all he needs. He'll be doing this podcast by the time he gets back. Brandon says, come on, Mrs. D-Money. She says it's Dr. D-Money. Dr. Mrs. D-Money. Why money? So, yeah, shout out to her. But, yeah, man, I think we'll be doing a few more of these instant reacts. You heard, let's pull up, just to get everybody properly excited before we sign off here. Let's pull up the latest Dennis Smith tweet. Because he's getting everybody juiced up here, but where's our guy Dennis? He's got a lot. When Dennis is posting pictures of himself in fancy clothes, things are happening here. Oh, so So we got the official commit, first of all. Let's just show everybody J.J. Edwards' official commitment graphic. We did all the Canes Inside stuff. There's the official Kane. Let me retweet it while we're talking. There's the official J.J. Edwards graphic posted by himself right there from Hayes Fawcett in a packed Hard Rock Stadium, as it will be when you talk about the game against Notre Dame. Next time you see that place, it'll be packed. Hopefully keep it packed all year. It's going to be a big, big season as far as home games. And let's see what Dennis is saying, because look, oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to show everybody. Here's Dennis Smith's latest tweet. It says, busy next 15 days for the Canes. Let's quietly, capital R, capital U, capital N, run the race set before us and see what we can make happen. Go Canes. Got a picture, of course, of Miami defensive line coach Damian Lewis himself, a big-time player, 5-star. I would love to add some guys to that room, the defensive tackle room, I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, I think that capital R, capital U, capital N was on purpose. That's somebody who he's talking about going on a recruiting run, a run of commitments, and I think that's what you expect to see based on what I'm hearing. You know, some names, and I don't know exactly. I knew J.J. Edwards was coming. Obviously, you saw we were set to go live here, but I don't know the next, like exactly who the next few people are. I think the people to watch of the big names, I think the closest one's going to be Derek Cooper, but he's at Ohio State right now. I mean, that's a battle. Like you got to really, we're going to have to win that battle, but I could see that one ending sooner than later in Miami. I've always thought was in a good spot. So we'll see how that one progresses. I don't think that's like imminent. He's at Ohio State right now, but I think it could be, pretty soon. New King God says that Texas just picked up another defensive tackle. Hopefully that helps us with James Johnson. Yeah, hopefully it does, man, because he is. I thought we were leading going into that visit. I haven't heard anything otherwise, but I don't know how that thing's going to turn out, because when you're on your visit, you're a live option for somebody. But I think we're in pretty good shape with James Johnson. But as far as guys that I'd say are lined up potentially to commit, so Tyron Evans, the wide receiver, I think Miami's got to have a great shot there. They got Jason Lopez on campus right now, the other wide receiver who I absolutely love, one of my favorite players in the class. I would love to get those two locked up and then continue to hunt for the Tristan Keys, the Calvin Russells of the world. Dan Jimenez asking any word on the wide receiver decommitted from Tennessee. That's Tyron Evans. He'd be one of them. I think he will be a Cane. Israel Briggs commits on Tuesday to somebody. Picking Miami or LSU. I like Miami there. I mentioned Zachary Turner, the tight end from Duncanville, Texas, Dallas, Texas area. One of my favorite players. Another one just like Jason Lopez. Really, really like his game. I'm hearing is going in the right direction as far as the Canes. You got Ashari Charles, the defensive end, a 4-star player, long link to the Canes from Venice, Florida, defensive end on campus right now. Let me get his latest tweet to get people juiced up, because that's another one that could be a potential name to watch. As we look at here, let's look at Ashari Charles posting up with a familiar face there. Jason Taylor got the U emojis with the question mark there. You see him. 4-star defensive end, really aggressive pass rusher from Venice, Florida, great area. So he'd be another one to watch. Who else are we talking about? Brody Jennings, Miami's been working on that one. He's been taking his visits, but Miami's got a lot of love for him. Blake Stewart, who he's in Michigan right now. So again, these are guys that are visiting other places, but that I know Miami is really, really pushing on. So those would be names I would be watching in this period coming up. Oh, and of course, Brett Kaloje from IMG. He's finishing up his visit tour. I think he's at Tennessee this week, and he was at USC earlier this week. Miami had the lead going into that visit, and he's a huge, huge target, major league talent, Brett Kaloje. So Canes would love to add him. I think they had the lead going into this weekend, and I've heard anything otherwise, anything negative, but you never know until that gets done. 1,200 on, by the way. Like and subscribe to the show. We are live here talking about the latest commit. Yeah, Nick Canino's thinking Kaloje. So we'll see. Commits are good, man. Get some in the boat. I know everybody wants, Tristan Keys, followed by Lamar Brown, followed by Derek Cooper, and I do too. But we're talking about some really good players here. Briggs is a top 10 player at his position in the country. You get Brett Kaloje. I think he's probably one of the top guards in the country. I mean, look at the schools recruiting him. Some of these names we're talking about. And today with Justin Edwards, Miami thinks by the end of his senior year, everybody's going to be talking about this guy. The speed, the film, the size in person, all checks out. all looks the way Miami wants it to look. This is a new set of eyes. Remember, guys, this Coach Heatherman, he's going to see things different. I know there's been complaints about linebacker recruiting in the past. Heatherman knows what he likes. Now, will it turn out well? I mean, I don't know. But I know this has Corey Heatherman written all over it because Corey Heatherman likes measurables. He likes guys that can run on those lasers, guys with long arms, guys with some height and length, and guys who can play all three downs, rush the passer, cover if they need to, and do their thing, go sideline to sideline. J.J. Edwards checking all those boxes. Remember, again, like and subscribe to this show. Check out CANESinsight.com, 7.4 million posts and counting. Go Canes.